Now, in this part, what we will do is we will discuss how we can copy the key data uh, rather than losing our main server. I don't want to lose my main server. I just want to change the key data. Okay, I can use a new key, but I don't want to create a new server. In the last part we had seen wherein we can just create a new server and we can start using a new key, but I don't want to lose my main server. Okay, I don't want to create a, okay, I'm okay creating AMI and new server, but I want to start using my main server only. I don't want to lose I don't want to lose my main server. I am fine if you are using a new key, but I don't want to lose access of my main server, because I've shown you already in the last part that the IP will change, right? So this is my main server, this is my new server IP. So the IP will change. I don't want to lose that IP. I want that this main server will remain as it should stay as it is. If you want, you can change the key. So let's see this method now. Now in this method, what we need to do is we just need to copy the key data from the new server to the main server. Okay, so let me just explain you simply. For this, obviously, you have to create a new server using the AMI, or you can just create a temporary server. Any server you can create with a new key. Okay, so since I have already created it in the previous part, okay, I'll just show you. Let's say you already have a running server. Any server is fine. Okay, this should be any temporary server or it can be an AMI. That is totally fine. You have already created a new server with a new key. Okay. Now this key data you simply need to copy in the main server. That's it. Now how to do this practically we will understand. Okay. So what I will just show you over here. So let's say this is a new server with a new key that I have created. So you can either create it with through AMI or you can create it any from the EC2 instance. Anything will work. Okay, both are fine. You just need a new server. You just need to create it for a temporary time period so that you can copy the key data. So you let's say you already have a main server. Okay, you have a main server over here, and there in the main server you had a key with the name main key, right? You had a key with the name main key, but unfortunately you lost that key. Let's say you have lost this main key. Now I told you what you can do is simply just copy this key data here in this main server, right? So this key data will be stored inside EBS. So let me just show the EBS also over here. So the main role of main role will be played by the EBS now. So let's say let me call it as a EBS main, and let me color this main server as green because this is the server that I want to use, and this new server is just a temporary server wherein I just want to copy the key data. So this is EBS main, and let's say this is EBS new, or you can call it as EBS temporary, anything. So all you have to do is just copy the key data that is present in EBS new to EBS main, so that what will happen is this main key that you had previously will get replaced by this new key. Okay, so this main key will get replaced by this new key, and after that you can start using the new key. So the main server you can start using the new key. So what you have done is you have just replaced the key here. Previously, what you had done is you had just replaced the server. Here you have to just replace the key. Okay, so I don't want to lose my server. I'm okay. I'm fine if you are using a new key or a different key, but I don't want to lose my main server. So what I'm doing inside EBS is I'm just copying this key data from this temporary EC2 instance, from this temporary EBS to this main EBS. After I have done this, what will happen is this main key data will get replaced with this new key data, right? So this is an overview theoretically how this needs to be done, right? So this is how you can copy the key data that is present in any EC2 instance. Any you can create any temporary EC2 instance. You have to just copy that key data from this EBS to this EBS, And once the data is copied, you don't have to use this main key anymore. You can start using this new key. Okay. Now let's do this practically. So how to do this? There are several steps that we need to follow. Okay. So there is a step-by-step method that we need to follow. So we will do it step by step. Okay. So for first, what we will do is we have already created a new server. Okay. Or we already have this new server and all. Right. So I'll just show you the first step. Let me copy this and paste it here. So let me write the first step. Step number one. So what is step number one is, I'll just show you. Or the only thing that you have to do is you have to stop this running instance. So let's say your main server is in a running state. You have to just stop it. And after that, you have to just detach your EBS from this main server and you have to attach it over here. So this you have to do. Okay, so the first step that you have to do is you have to stop the main server. In the step number one, first activity you have to do is you have to stop your main server. So let's say this server is in a stop state now. Okay, now it is, let's say I'll just temporarily stop this EC2 instance and I have to detach this from here. So this EBS main, okay, so this EBS main will be attached to this main server, right? So I have to just detach it from here and I have to just attach this EBS over here to the main new server. Okay, so this EBS will get attached to this new server. So here it has got detached. Here you need to attach it. So let's do this from the EC2 from the AWS console. So this is the first step. Or let me just first show you this all the steps. Then we will do this practically. So that the step one number one is done. In step number two, what we need to do is once we have attached this from the AWS console, we need to mount it as well. We also need to mount it. So these are some Linux commands that we need to run. So only attaching will not help. You have to also mount it. Okay. So this is the process how this is done, right? So first thing is you have to attach it as well as you have to mount it. Okay. You have to mount it as well. So that is the second step wherein you have to mount it. And how we can mount it is, we have to run some Linux commands. After that, you will be able to mount this EBS to this new server, right? So let's say this EBS main, if you want to mount it to your new server, you can. You have to create a bound point. Okay, you have to create a directory in this new server. You have to attach it. You have to mount this EBS, and after that, you will be able to copy the data. Okay, so copying the data I'll show you in this step only. So once you have mounted it, you have to copy the key data from this to this, from the new main EBS new to the EBS main. You have to copy the key data. So let me write it here. What I need to do is I need to copy the PEM key data. So over here, what I'm doing is I'll be copying the PEM key data. Now, where is the PEM key data located? I told you that we have we have a combination in key pairs. We have two things. We have a public key. We have a private key. Okay, so where will this key data will be located? It will be located inside .ssh folder with the name with the file name authorized underscore keys. Okay, so this is the location. This is the path where the key data will be stored. So let's say if you're using a EC2 instance or Amazon Linux EC2 user, it will be stored inside home EC2 hyphen user forward slash dot ssh authorized key. So this is the path where the key data will be stored, and this is the file name, authorized underscore keys. This is the file name. This is where the entire key data will be stored. So you have to just copy it from EBS new and just paste it here inside EBS main. So this authorized key data will be, let's say, related to new key, right? So this data will be related to new key. You have to just, and inside EBS main, you will be having the main key data. So once you copy it, this key data will get replaced. So this main key data will get replaced with the new key data. So this main key will get replaced by this new key now. So these are some steps that we need to run using the Linux commands. So that is what I will be showing you. So I have copied the key data from EBS new to EBS main, and this is the path where my key will be stored, where my key data will be stored. Okay, and after that, let me just show you the third step. So we will first discuss this theoretically, and after that we will jump to the practicals. So this is the step number three. In the step number three, after I have copied the key data, what I need to do is I need to unmount this EBS main. I have to unmount this EBS main, and I have to also detach it. Unmounting can be done using Linux commands. Detachment will be done using the AWS console. So we will do what we will unmount and we will detach. So unmounting will be done from the Linux commands. Detachment will be done by the AWS console. And once you have detached this, so this, I'll just erase this. So this main key will have this new key data now. Okay, once you have detached this now, so this is no more a part of new server now. So this EBS main is now independent. It will be in an available state. You have to just bring it back and attach it to your existing main server. Right over here, you have to come bring and attach it here. And after that, you have to start this server, and you can start using the server as it is. So this main server will be able to access. You will be able to access this main server with a new key. Okay. So this main key got replaced with a new key. And when you are doing the detachment and attachment here, you have to also here also you have to stop the new server from the AWS console. So this is theoretically how we can do it, and practically I'll show you all the steps one by one. So let's go to step number one, wherein I have to stop the running instance and I have to detach the EBS main. Okay. So let me go back to my AWS console, and let's do the step number one. So the step number one is I have to stop the main server. So this is my main server. I have to go under actions, sorry, my bad, instance state and stop instance. So what will happen is once I click on stop, it will stop this instance, and just wait for a few minutes until it comes in a stop state. It should not be in a stopping state. It should be in a completely stopped state. So as a summary, just understand in a very simple way, we are just copying the key data from a temporary instance to a main server, and we are using a new key. Okay. So if in case if they ask you in interview, you should be able to explain how what we are doing as an overview. what we are doing is we are just creating a temporary EC2 instance. There we will be using a new key. We will be creating a instance with a new key. And what we are doing is we are just copying that key data from that temporary instance to a main instance. So we are accessing our main instance with a new key altogether. Now you can see this is in a stop state. My main server is now in a stop state. Now in the left hand side, just go to volumes, and you have to identify this volume, that is this volume, EBS main volume. Okay, so how will you identify this? EBS main volume will be attached to this main server. Simple. So just scroll here on the right hand side, and here you will find attached resources. So this is the EBS which is attached to the main server, and this is the EBS which is attached to the new server. So the first EBS that you can see here, if you want, you can rename it. Let me rename it as EBS main. So I'm not losing my EC2 instance. I'm not losing my EBS main. I don't want to use the same EC2 instance, same EBS main, but I don't mind using a new key. So I'm just changing the key. I'm not changing the EBS and EC2 instance. And this you can rename it to EBS new or EBS temporary, anything. So what we are doing, we are just copying that key data and we are just using it with our main EBS. So now what I will do is I'll just select this volume and I'll go under actions and I'll click on detach volume. So now what once I click on detach, this EBS volume will get detached from my main server. So what I've done is I've stopped that main server. I have detached this EBS volume from the main server. After that, I have to attach it to the new server, right? So let's see the status now. And if you can see here in the volume state, now it is available. That means this EBS main volume is now not attached to anything, okay, or it is not attached to any instance. It is now in an available state, right? So now it is in available state. Now since it is in available state, I can simply attach it to the new server. So for that, what you have to do is again select this EBS main, go under actions, and just click on attach volume. And here search for the instance, that is new server. You can see this is the new server. Just select it, and in the device name you can just select this one. Okay, so you will find list of devices. So this is like local disk D, E, F, what we have in Windows. This is similar to that. Okay, so the device name, note down, the device name will be under dev SDB. Okay, so you can select anything. So let me just select the first one, that is SDB. So whatever volumes that you will be attaching in Linux, they will go inside /dev folder. Okay, so they will go inside this /dev folder. So let me click on attach volume. So the first step is done. What is, what we have done in the first step is we have just stopped our EC2 instance, we have detached it, and we have attached our EBS with a new server. Okay, so my EBS main is now attached to the new server. Now let's go ahead to the step number 2. Okay, so we have stopped and detached this. This is done already. I can just discard this part here. Let me just focus on this part. Now in step number 2, what you need to do is you have to log into your server. You have to do SSH login in the new server. So how to do SSH, we are already aware. Whether you can do it using MobaXterm, or you can do it with putty, or you can do it with command prompt, or you can directly use the EC2 instance connect. Whichever option you are comfortable with, you can do it. So I prefer login it using MobaXterm. If you want to do it, you can use command prompt or instance connect as well. So now I will log in inside this instance and I will run few commands. What are the commands that I'm going to run is, first I want to list the block storages. Okay, first what I will do is I will list the block storages, and for that the command is lsblk. Just remember these commands, very important commands. Yes, lsblk means list block. Ls means list, blk means block. So it will list the block storages. Then what I will do is I will create a directory. Okay, I need to create a mount point. Uh, let me call it as a create a mount point. So creating a mount point is similar to creating a disk in Windows. So let me just show you. Let me go to my Windows, and if I go to my this PC, these are my different volumes, I can say. Like these are my different disks. So this is local disk C, this is local disk D, right? So this is, you can consider it as a mount point. Okay, so C is mounted on this point and D is mounted on this point. So anyways, this is like a folder only. Okay, from on a single volume, I'm just creating partitions, right? So in Linux, partitions are called as mount points. So you have to create a mount point. Nothing, you have to just create a simple directory. So the command is mkdir. Let's say, um, let me call the directory as disk number two, or let me call it as a new disk. Anything, whichever you feel comfortable, you can just give the name, that is, let's say, disk number two. So you have to just create a mount point. Okay. So this is like, creating a directory. So now what you have done is, so let's say this is your Linux server, Linux machine. You can just create a mount point here in any directory you can create. Now, if you want to make this directory a disk, okay, so let's say this is a new disk that you want to do. If you want to make it a disk, you have to run some commands. That is the mount command. Okay, so this is the folder that I want to make it as a disk. So for that, what I need to do is I need to run some commands, and for that, the command is mount hyphen o no uid followed by the path. Okay, so followed by the disk name, whatever block storage name you have, block storage name, followed by the directory where you want to mount it. Okay, so let's say I want to mount it in disk 2. So this is the directory wherein I want to mount my volume. Okay, so this volume EBS main will be mounted to disk number 2. So it will be, you will be able to display it like this. Two disk will be, displayed. So let me just log into my server and run all. Show you how to run all these commands. So for that, what I will do, I will go to my instances, and I will select my new server. I have to log in inside my main new server. I can directly log in it from here also. Come connect instance connect, and I can just click on connect. Sometimes this doesn't work. That is the reason I prefer mobile system. Now, this doesn't work, we will go to mobile system only. Okay, so yeah, this is working now. I'm inside my new server. Okay, now here what we will do is we will just run some commands. So the first command that I will run is ls blk. So this will list the block storages. Let me just zoom it a bit. Okay, so ls blk will list the block storages. Now you can see here, this one xpda is the root volume. Okay, this is the root EBS, and this is an additional EBS, but it has not been attached anywhere. Here the mount point is there. That is a forward slash. A mount point is available here, but here you cannot find any mount point. You can see there is no mount point that has been created over here. So for that, what I can do is I can create a mount point. How do I create a mount point? I have to simply create a directory mkdir, let's say forward slash disk 2. Okay, let me create a directory. And in order to make this directory a mount point, I have to just run a command mount hyphen o. Let's say this is the mount point xvdb1 xvdb1 to forward slash disk number 2. Now there is one more flag that you want to use, is that is no uid hyphen o no uuid. Now this is a Linux command which means no universally unique identifier. Okay, that is what the full form is, and this is useful when you want to copy some data from a different system. Okay, so just remember this: if you want to copy some data from a new system, you have to use this no uuid. So now, since I'm not a root user, I need to use the sudo mount command. sudo mount hyphen o. Okay, I want to just attach this xvdb1. This I want to attach it to disk number 2 folder. Okay, I will create this directory as a volume. I have just created a simple directory. Now this I will create it as a mount point. So this is the command, and if I sudo sudo, and if I okay, sorry, my bad, let me just clear it. lsblk. Okay, so I've already created a directory with the name forward slash disk. I need to run the command sudo mount hyphen o this mount name, but this will be present inside dev directory, right? So don't miss that dev directory xvdb1, and for the directory that you created, that is disk number 2. Sudo mount hyphen o, no universally unique identifier, no UUID, and hit enter. Now, it didn't display any error. Now let me run ls blk and see what happens. Now you can see here, previously this xvdb1 had no mount point, but now you can see that disk number 2, a simple folder that I created, became a mount point now. So now this what does this means, that I have mounted my EBS volume to this new server. Okay, so this is what it means. That means that this EBS volume, EBS main, has been mounted to the new server. Now in the step number 2 only, I told you that I have to copy the key data which is present in this location. In this location, from this location I have to copy it to the same location here. So I have to just replace the key data. So for that, the command, you have to just run this command sudo cp means copy from where? So from home EC2 hyphen user dot ssh forward slash authorized keys. Okay, I have to copy it from here to the disk 2, right? So this one, to this directory. So it will be present inside forward slash disk number 2 home EC2 hyphen user dot ssh authorized keys. So what I'm doing is, from my new EBS volume, whatever data I have of the keys, I'm just copying it to the main EBS volume. Understood? So this is what I'm doing here. So whatever key data I have in my main new EBS volume, I'm just copying it and replacing it in the main EBS volume. This is what this command will do. So CP means copy, and sudo I'm adding it so that I can get the root privileges. Now let me hit enter. So this key data has now been copied inside my EBS main. Now whatever main key data I had, I have just replaced it with a new key. So this key data, main key data, got replaced with the new key data, because this replacement has been done. Now what is the next step is, I want to unmount this volume. Okay, I have to unmount that volume. So for that, the command is sudo umount forward slash disk number 2. And if you want to check whether it has been unmounted or not, just run lsblk, and now this disk number 2, whatever you had, has no mount point again. So this is how you can mount and unmount disks in Linux, right? So you can just run these commands, right? If you want to get the list of these commands, just go to github.com slash pandacloud1, this URL, and go to repositories, and just click on Amazon Linux scripts, and there I have mentioned the EC2 key copy data. So you can find this data, all the commands here. I mentioned all the steps, so you can just use these commands to copy the key data from one EBS to another EBS. Okay. So this part is done now. Now what I need to do is, I have already unmounted it using the Linux command. Now what I need to do is, I need to stop this new server, and I have to detach this EBS volume. Okay, so whatever EBS volume I had over here, this I need to detach it. Right. So this detachment, unmounting is done. I need to stop and detach the EBS volume. So for that, again, I'll go back to my AWS console. I will select the new server. I will go under instance state, stop instance, and stop it, and wait until this comes in a stop state, completely stop state. Still in the stopping state. Now it is in a completely stop state. My new server is in a completely now a stop state. Go back to your volumes here on the left hand side. Click on volumes. So I told you I have to detach this main EBS and I have to attach it to this main server, and then I have to start the main server. So again, this is my sorry, main EBS. This is my main EBS. So just go under actions, detach volume, and just click on detach. This volume will get detached, and again go back to the main EBS, go under actions and attach it to the main server. Right? So here in the instance, search for the main server and select the device name, and here you have to select this root volume. Okay, you have to select it as a root volume. So here just click on XVDA, this is the root volume, and just click on attach volume. That's it. So now your EBS is now attached to the main server, and you can simply start your main server and you can start using the new key. Okay, so your old key has been now whatever key that you have lost already, that is the main key. Instead of using this main key, you can start using the new key, right? So what we have done as a summary, we have just replaced the key. That's it. We are using the same server, same EPS, everything will remain same. Only the key has been replaced. Key data has been replaced. So this is a very long process. I do understand, but if you go through this video again and again, you will understand how this has been done. Just practice it. The only part is the Linux commands. So that is the reason why I've already given you the commands as well, so you can just practice it. So it is very simple, but just go through it again. So just what you need to do is just click on the main server under instance state, just start it. So this main server will get started. And now if you want, you can delete the new server, because this is just something that I created for time being. Now if you want, you can delete the new server and everything. I don't need this new server. You can terminate it. This was just for temporary time period, so that I can just copy the new key data. Now the main server is in a running state, you can see. And also whatever AMI that you have created, just go and click and go and delete those AMIs as well, or else you will start getting unnecessary charges. So just click on the AMI and click on deregister AMI and just deregister that AMI. So now if you want, you can try to do the SSH access of this instance. Let me show you through mobile XM. So this is my main server. I'll select it, copy the public IP, go to mobile XM, and just go to sessions, new session, click on SSH, EC2 hyphen user at the rate public IP. Under advanced settings, just upload the new PEM key. Okay, because that is the only key I have currently. So this is the new key. Just click on open, click on OK. I should be able to do the SSH access. Now you can see I am now able to enter inside my main server using a new key. Right? So this is the method you can use through which you can access your EC2 instance. Right? So this is a very important method which can be asked in interview. And for your reference, I'll just give you a link which you can just refer it here only. So in my GitHub, just copy this link. So from where have I taken this method? So just this is provided by the official documentations in AWS. You can just click and download this PDF, and in that PDF you will get all that data. So now this PDF is a very big PDF. It is almost in few MBs, and it will directly take you, or if you just, okay, it will directly take you over here, this link, add or replace a public key in a EC2 instance. So I told you this will be present inside the .ssh directory in the under the authorized keys, right? So this is how you can copy and replace your key data. So these are all the steps that this is the reference that I have taken from, and you can also use this reference if required, or you can just follow the video, whichever is comfortable. So this is how I'm able to replace the key data. So as a summary, what we are doing is we are just copying and replacing the key data in the method number two. So instead of using the old key, I'm just replacing it with a new key. So the replacement has to be done by creating a new temporary EC2 instance. I have to just copy the key data from that temporary EBS to the new EBS, or to my main EBS. So these are just the methods that you can follow step by step. Now let's say you may be thinking, I don't want to do all this method. Okay, from the interview perspective, this is fine. I want that, let's say I have my EC2 instance, I have my server here. I want to provide some security. I don't want to do all this method. I want to quickly access my EC2 instance. So let's say this is me. I want to quickly access my EC2 instance without having to do all this, steps that we have done in the method number two. So is there any quicker way using which I can access my EC2 instance? So that is what we are going to discuss in method number three, that is using Sessions Manager. So in the Sessions Manager, we are going to see how we can, do it in a more simpler way. Right? So this method number two was a bit tricky, but this can help you from the interview perspective. But let us understand method